2017. Whole new year here. I think most people hated 2016. I didn't hate 2016. The main thing is that I am essentially like restarting my career. I was just sort of figuring out, like, I knew that I wanted to make YouTube videos and I knew that I wanted to do art. And so now I'm really sort of like building that as to like how those two can like really come together. Video, I'll link it below, that's just like a little short thing about like goals versus resolutions. I've always been a goal setter because I find that they're very like measurable, achievable. You can go out, you can do them, they're done, and then you can set new ones, and so you just keep like growing and expanding on them like that. Here that I really wanted to make resolutions. And the main difference is that I feel like resolutions are permanent. It's like really like solving a long-term problem. So like when people make a resolution to like exercise more, to sleep more, they want to instill like permanent change because they want to feel better, they want to think better, and they want to act better. I've just noticed that when people make resolutions, it's often they break them because there isn't goals. So they say exercise more, but then they don't really define what that looks like. You go for a walk 3 times a week, or you're gonna run at the gym or on the treadmill. So goals are still like really important. I definitely have goals. So let me just jump to this. I have this little day planner. I used a day planner last year as well. It's helpful for organization, I find. And this one is like pretty handy because I can make like little lists. So if I do have anything, it just sort of helps me see like projects that I'm doing and sort of the timeline for them. At the back, in these like blank pages, I've put resolutions. So I have goals and I have resolutions. I'm not really going to tell you all that they are because frankly it's kind of private. And I also, another thing that I really find where it goes wrong with resolutions is that people set them and then it's like they put them like on a cork board, they put them where they can see them all the time, and then it's almost like this weight that haunts them, and then so whenever they're not really reaching towards it, it makes them feel worse as opposed to keeping them motivated. So I see the benefit of keeping goals like in front of you all the time and making sure that you're like reaching for them, but when it starts to be like when it starts to be a weight instead of an inspiration, then I think that that's where it gets kind of tricky. Can you hear that? Like what I've always done before is I've put my resolutions on a piece of paper, or my goals, and then I've like stuck it in a drawer, so that I basically just like don't have it following me around all year. I'm sort of the mindset where like I set the intention, and then if there are things that are really important to me, I don't need a piece of paper to remind me to do them. It's sort of this outlook of like I set the intention, and then at the end of the year I'm able to see if those intentions were like met. And most often they are, in some degree. They might not look exactly how it looks on that piece of paper. So anyway, so I keep them at the back, and I'm not going to really talk about like in depth what they are, because some of them are like, I want an X amount of subscribers on YouTube. And if I don't get to that X amount of subscribers on YouTube, then all of you will watch this video and be like, hey, you didn't hit whatever amount of subscribers or like followers on Instagram and stuff like that. Like that's stuff that I'd rather just keep to myself, because I just, sometimes when you share things, it just gets a little bit, it gets muddy. I will say that like all the things that I'm going for really do revolve around like career. I'm like at the bottom of this mountain looking up. I'm at the very start. There's been a lot of times in my life when I've been at the bottom of this mountain looking up at like the career that I want to have and not really knowing where to start. And I think that I've had a lot of habits that have kept me in the way of achieving things that I really want to achieve. I wouldn't say that I have a bad work ethic, but I think that I'm really good at giving 110%, but I only give 110% half the time, if that makes sense. And so there's a lot of resolutions in there that are sort of behavioral changes in how I approach work. And it's not like, I really hate the mentality of like, you have to hit the grindstone, you have to work so hard. I don't really believe in that, because I think that's false. If you're doing that from a place of like guilt or like, oh, like I have to do this to succeed, you're not going to. It has to be done from a place of like, this is something I really want to do. And there are a lot of things that I really want to do, and it's just a matter of like, I'm not showing up for them. So if I can just make the effort to show up more for them, and to really be inspired for these things, that's where I'm coming from. So I'm going to give you some vague resolutions that I have for this year. And one of them is to create more content for YouTube. I had a good month or two where I was making daily vlogs, and that was really fun, but it's not my jam. I find making daily vlogs really tedious and uninteresting because it's just things I'm doing in my life that's maybe not very interesting. So I want to make sure that when I'm posting content, it's interesting. And I think that might look like the form of a few videos a week and various formats of that. I'm really interested in being an artist on YouTube because I don't find that there are a lot of good art YouTubes. A lot of them are just catered to other artists. And so a goal of mine is to really find that medium of I'm an artist on YouTube, but I'm appealing to a general audience. The thing is just to be more active on social media generally. I really love the use of Insta stories because it fits in kind of with daily vlogging, all the things I like about daily vlogging without actually committing to cutting a fucking vlog every day. And then just sharing my art more. That's half the battle, is just really getting your things seen and sharing a unique perspective. Even things like doing blog posts, using Tumblr more, building a new website. Again, that's where the work ethic thing comes back in, where it's I have to make sure that I'm making things, for one, doing the art, but then also just really putting in the time to make it so that you guys can see it. That's about it. If you guys want to comment below and tell me about your resolutions and goals for the new year, I'd love to hear them. And here's to a great new year.